Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mount Mindset. I've got a special guest who I bumped into in the gym. He was doing some weird and wacky stuff on a bar. Paddy McIntyre, he's the founder of the Scottish Cali Squad. He's off the back of doing an amazing challenge where he raised some money for charity for men's mental health, and he developed this challenge where the challenge in itself would have been hard enough, which is the 3 peaks, but he took a mobile pull-up bar and done the total number of pull-ups, which is the total accumulative meters for all 3 of those peaks, and he done that in a breathtaking 25 hours. Most people would be happy to do just the 3 peaks in 25 hours. Being all he done that, but he done the total amount of pull-ups, raised great money for a charity, and we're going to go into the twists, turns, and the tail of how that came about. So, without further ado, let's dive right in.
Scottish Cali Squad.
How did that come about?
So going back 2017, just before we get hit with lockdown and COVID, I was going to gymnastics with a couple of friends, and we realised that we can maybe create something from that. So I created a WhatsApp group, and I named it Scottish Cali Squad. I created a wee logo, put it up on social media. A couple of people asked what it was we were doing. I told them it was calisthenics. I explained what calisthenics was to them. A few other people turned up. The community grown, and I'm now sitting with 65 members.
That's brilliant. How did, what were you doing before the gym? How did you get into the gymnastics? Were you doing calisthenics before?
So I was working in Aldi, and I was going to the gym.
A notable start of any community is working in Aldi.
Yep. So I'd started working in there, and I remember looking on YouTube for body transformation type videos, something to inspire and motivate me to get fit.
What were you like before?
Going back when I was a teenager, I was pretty fit. I was in and out of boxing, football. Could have made a career out of boxing, but I was attacked with a hatchet, and I was told I couldn't do close contact sports. So I stepped away from it.
Were you when that happened?
17.
You were attacked with a hatchet?
Yeah.
So like an axe?
Yeah, twice I was hit with it, yeah.
Where did you get hit?
There on the chin, which took out a couple of teeth. It was half an inch away from my jugular vein, and then I put my hand up to defend myself, and he got me in the hand. I don't know if he was maybe trying to take the head off, but...
Well, he didn't do a good job, did he?
No, I'm still here.
So, you were boxing beforehand? So you boxing beforehand,
yep.
And then you got hit with a hatchet?
Yep.
So was that anything to do with the boxing?
No, I was in a gang out in the streets drinking.
Right.
My friend got in a bit of trouble over to see what was going on, and one of the older guys from the gang came over with an axe and chased us and caught me.
It's one of the things that would, like, you fly with the crows, you get shot with the crows.
That's what they say. And yeah, I remember being in the hospital bed after it, and the police officer came up to me, and that's the exact words they told me, and it was a sour pill to swallow.
What was that like at the time? Well, I suppose it's bittersweet because you just you've had an experience where half an inch away and you could be dead.
Yeah. At that time, I thought it would been enough to take me away and scare me from hanging about in a gang, and it wasn't at the time.
You went back to it?
Yeah. Another 6 months passed, and I see myself being abducted in a car by the opposite gang.
You got abducted?
Yeah. And hospitalised as well.
What was the impetus for that? Like, why was the... what was the beef?
Gang fighting. Yeah, and these guys have got in a car, drove over to us during the gang fight. We all dispersed. They chased a couple. I was one of the couple that they chased, and one of the few that they caught.
Right.
Yeah.
What did they do?
Beat me up severely. Took me back to the area that I was gang fighting in, and then let me out to all that gang. And then beat me up again. And then I took my own way home, which was quite...
And you're 17?
I think at this point I was 18. Yeah.
Right, so you're... How long were you in the gang?
From about the ages of 14 up until I was about 19, 20.
Why did you, looking back, do you know why you got involved with it?
I was a people pleaser. I got in with the wrong crowd. And maybe the area that I was growing up in played a big part in it.
The area you grew up in or the people you were around?
Both, I would think.
What made you think the area was a part of it?
It's a rough area. There's a lot of gang fights there. There's a lot of drug dealings. There's a lot of rough people going around, and there's not a positive influence in the community. And I found that sort of thing was what all the kids were doing at the time.
And what do you think sort of makes, like maybe you or like the boys that you were in the gang with, what do you think makes them? What do you think attracts them to it?
Camaraderie, feeling part of something.
Did you feel like you didn't have that before? Were you missing that for your life?
No, possibly not, but maybe looking for more of it. Yeah, because I feel like I got that from football training and being at school and things like that as a kid. But
what was things like at home?
Fine. My mum and dad were together up until I was 8 years of age, and they split up. Yeah, I seen some things as a kid.
And you think that played a part in it?
Yeah.
It's crazy how that plays out, doesn't it? Childhood.
Yeah.
So everything's fine until you're 8, and you've seen some things as a kid. Is that, do you think that plays a part into why you are seeking the camaraderie?
Yeah. If I look back from today, you could start to see maybe attitude changes and things like that, and all these things maybe grow and escalate up into the person we then become. And I was one for chasing my ego at that time.
But as early as 8?
No, as 8. Maybe when I was 14, 15.
So what happened between, tell me what it was like between 8 and 14 when you entered the gangs. How do you go from, obviously it's a significant thing, there's mum and dad break up. It's a young age. You're still trying to figure out what this crazy old world's about.
Yeah.
What was going on between 8 and 14?
Playing football is what's striking me. Trying to keep on the straight and narrow. But then I feel like maybe from the ages of 13 at secondary school is when I've been misled, I think, or maybe joined in with different groups of people to people please, and it's not been the groups that I maybe should have joined, which has led me down.
Where do you think the people pleasing comes from?
That's got to have come from past experiences, I may believe.
Have you ever dug deep on them?
No, I've not.
Yeah. I reckon we were pulling on a thread there.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So do you think that your people pleasing's about something must have happened to cause that? There must have been something in your life that was pushing you towards that. Like, if you do this, it'll be all right. Like that's what people pleasers. If I keep the peace, if I keep everybody happy, everything will be fine.
Yep.
Like that's a typical people pleaser.
Yep.
And it's usually that they're trying to avoid something, or it's something's happening and they're looking to avoid that. Is that?
Yep. Yeah.
So something must have took place to trigger that off in you, where you go, look, if I just please people, then things will be better.
Yep.
Which means that if you experience something that's worse and you want to avoid it, it's the way you avoid it is try and please everyone. Yeah. Completely. And then if you get in with the wrong crowd of people, and you're a people pleaser, then you're pleasing people that are steering you down a wrong path. You end up getting carried away with it. That sound about right?
yeah, you're right. And what struck me there was, I think, maybe before I was 8 years of age, but go back to maybe some of the traumatic experiences I had growing up. And
you all like talking about them?
Yeah, for sure.
What happened?
Don't know where to start, to be honest with you.
Whoever one comes first. Like your gut's going to tell you what's right. So whatever one pops in.
Yeah, I remember seeing my mum experiencing quite a bit of abuse from my father. And I witnessed that growing up.
What age was that?
I'd probably say from the ages of 3 up until about the ages of 8.
And was it a case of it was erupting in front of you? There was no ways of hiding it?
Yeah, I've seen my mum with red covered bloody face and, these kind of traumatic things.
Is that where the element of, if we keep them happy, they'll not kick off?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying that there was traumatic experiences. Like, so I'm thinking about what you're saying there. Like, I guess everybody's had sort of traumatic experiences, but it's how that shaped, like, with the meaning that you attach to it.
Yeah.
So what we were trying to get to is that what led you into the gangs was the people pleasing. Mm-hmm. But the people pleasing needs to happen before the gangs. So usually something takes place where you want to please people so that they don't kick off. Yeah. You're trying to avoid something. Yeah. So if you keep them happy, you hope to avoid whatever it is that you're looking to stop them doing. Yep. And that would have needed to been happen before the gangs. And he says that there was a few traumatic experiences that he had. Yeah. He says one of them was seeing your mum and dad, or your dad hitting your mum. Yeah.
Probably witnessing them split up. Living with a single parent.
Was your mum a pleaser, people pleaser?
Yeah. She was, yeah.
She's trying to keep your dad in check so he doesn't blow his top.
Yeah.
She's wanting to stop her getting exposed to it, and probably primarily you.
Yep.
You got brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I've got a good few. I've got, I think it's about 13.
13?
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe between 13 and 15.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not my mother. That was my father.
He was busy.
He was busy, aye. I've got brothers and sisters all throughout the UK.
Was he on tour or?
I think he was, aye. Yeah.
What's your relationship like with him?
It wasn't the closest. I would have liked for it to be closer.
With your dad or your mum or both?
My dad, yeah. I would have liked more time from him. I'd have liked to have understood him more.
Has he passed away?
Very recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And has that only come after he's passed away that you think this?
No.
You always had it?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What would you have liked to found out about?
Now that I'm sitting here as a parent without any parents, I would.
Your mum passed away as well?
Very recently as well, yeah. I now have feelings that I'm trying to understand, and I wonder if my parents experienced these feelings.
What feelings?
Self-doubt, worry about the future, all these kind of things about just being
You've got way more experience as well. That's normal.
Exactly. Yeah, I know I've still got the wee ones to grow up as well.
You remember that advert, the SMA advert? You have absolutely no experience, but you've got the job.
Yeah. I know. So I'd maybe like to have spoke to him a bit more about life and his upbringing and things like that as well there, but I feel like I never really got the chance to.
What do you think? What do you think you get for it from finding out that?
Peace, I think, maybe comfort. Yeah.
And what about your mum?
What was the question?
You were saying that you'd like to have asked. You would like to have asked them things because you're a parent without parents. There's loads of things that you feel. You says that they both passed away. Yeah. And there was some things. Is it predominantly your dad that you'd have liked to have found out more from him?
Yeah. Yep. There was a separation, so my mum and dad had split up. I stayed with my mum. My dad moved away, and what it looks like is he became a drug dealer and a shoplifter. And I was growing up around that, and I would go and stay with him at the weekends, and I would witness that. And that was kind of what was brought up at weekends.
Do you shoplift with him?
No, but they may have used me to shoplift at times. Yeah. And I've found myself in my teens and things like that. Maybe adrenaline chasing or whatnot, but committing the same crimes.
You were adrenaline chasing?
Yeah, I could have found myself running into Tesco and grabbing 5 computer games and running out just for an adrenaline chase. Yeah.
What do you think you were getting from that? And obviously the adrenaline, but what was the drive?
People pleasing, maybe. I don't know, again.
Were you giving away the games?
I was. I actually was giving them away.
Because you want to please people, but you want the buzz, so you thought, what can I do?
Yeah, and I love people talking about me and smiling at my face and patting me on the back kind of thing for things that I was able to achieve.
You felt significant?
Yeah.
You had significance from it?
Yep. And
that significance as a whole that you were feeling from what you'd experienced when you were young?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What, do you know all your brothers and sisters? I mean, you know, I guess you know it, but do you in
I think
contact with them?
there's maybe one or two that I've never met before.
Mm-hmm.
I know the names of them. I've met 90% of them. I don't get on with one of them.
That's not bad at 15 or 13.
Yeah.
That's not bad going.
Yeah.
I know people with 2 and they don't get on with 1.
Yeah.
You get some good numbers there. So, like, what you're describing here is, it seems like it's rough as far back as you can remember.
Yeah.
Like, your mum getting beat up is rough, right? No matter how bad your mum was, still rough.
Yeah.
Every boy's hero is their dad, and you know he's doing something wrong.
Yeah.
And then you want to please people, which sets you in a default mode. If you get in the wrong people, that's a wicked combination to end up in the wrong places really fast.
Yeah.
And that sounds like the life that you were in.
It was, yeah.
What did you, and you were going into Tesco, whipping 5, what computer were you, games were you stealing, what one?
Just any I could get my hands on.
PlayStation,
There was PlayStation, Xbox, and Mix. They weren't for me to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just for me to go in and do. Yeah.
You're getting that significance from doing it, and people, like, you know, people getting something from you.
Yeah, basically.
So you end up giving and giving and giving because that's how you please them.
Yeah.
And then, like, what were you like through school? You sound like a toe rag.
Yeah, very much similar. Constantly getting kicked at school. Never a good boy, to be honest with you.
When did you change? Like, were you ever a good boy?
Yeah, I was a good boy up until I was probably around about 12, I think. And I remember, this is after my mum and dad had split up, and my dad's living in Ayrshire at the time. So I'm down with my...
So where did you grow up?
Glasgow.
So you grew up in Glasgow and he's in Ayrshire?
Yeah. So I remember living down there one night, and this big fight escalated with like a local gang in Ayrshire, and I remember they smashed up the house that I was living in.
So this is your dad's house?
Yeah, his old house, yeah. I forgot what the question was again, Geo.
You were saying that you were a good boy up until you were 12.
Yeah.
And then you were down in Ayrshire.
Yeah, that's right. And
then this gang came in and smashed up the house.
That's right. So the gang came in and smashed up the house, and I remember after that, that's when I started acting up, and I was a wee bit more of a toe rag, as you would say. I would be answering my mum back, and I'd have a wee bit of lip, as you would say. And that just grown and grown.
What was do you remember what it felt like when you changed? What was going on then? What was going on inside you?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I was scared. I know that much.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared of growing up and the unknown, and
what were you scared of?
just maybe becoming an adult, you know, I think.
Well, because you thought, like, I'm trying to think of what you'd have been like when you were 12. A gang came in, smashed up the house.
Yeah.
You're 12. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
But terrifying means, like, terrifying to you at 12 is maybe different to if we went out and said terrifying to somebody else.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of what terrifying would have been like then. Because you're, like, if you're saying you don't want to grow up, it's like you're looking at the world. Again, I'm taking a guess here, so keep me right if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You're terrified that this is the world.
Yeah.
If you grow up, this is the world you got, and you don't like the look of it.
Yep.
Shoplifting,
Yep.
stealing, drugs,
Yep.
violence,
Yep.
gangs.
Yeah. Been brought up around it, and I seen myself in and about it.
No wonder you didn't want to grow up.
Yeah.
So what was your plan with acting out? What was the grand plan at 12?
I wanted to be a football player.
Right.
I was good at football. Signed for Rangers Pro Youth Football Club.
What age was that at?
I was 16 at the time.
So go back a bit. So you're 12.
Yeah.
Right, you're kicking off. You're starting to kick off. You're dishing out a bit of lip.
Yep.
Right. God bless you. Dishing out a bit of lip. Okay, that's good. But it came from an event.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
rough road. Don't think anybody's going
Yeah.
to say, look, brush yourself down. It's at 12. It's not, and especially if you've been around violence, you've been around drugs, it's not really what you need at 12.
No, that's true.
So what, you started to change, and you were terrified of growing up. What happens immediately after that?
I joined secondary school. I lead into joining the wrong group of friends. We create a gang.
Do you have a meeting? Like, how does a gang form? Like, would he sit down and he's like, right, we've got a whiteboard and we're gonna lay out the, like, how does it come about? Tell me how a gang forms.
So for myself, I would say I was the ringleader of the gang.
Right.
And for that, we would always meet at a certain time at a certain place. Given the amount of numbers that we would have, we'd then make phone calls and have conversations with other gangs and the other communities and areas, and arrange to meet up at set locations where the police may not see us or they may not be public, and we would go there.
Like, what's the idea? What he's going to do when he's meet?
Gang fight. You throw bottles at each other and that kind of thing. And if somebody's unlucky, then
how do you talk people into this?
I don't know.
Right, so we're 12, right?
Yeah.
You're going to, like, you think that I'm handy, right?
Yeah.
You want me in your gang,
Yeah.
right? You're the ringleader.
Yeah.
And you go, we want to recruit me. What are you telling me?
That it's fun and it's cool. People like you for it. The girls will like you for it. That kind of thing. That was what I remember then. Yeah.
So you had it with all that. You can be cool.
Yep.
You know, you'll be fancied.
Yep.
You get the
and
birds.
I'm completely wrong with all now. Sitting here 33 years old.
But you had a pitch.
Yep. I did. Aye.
So listen, this is the deal, right? You come down. We're going to phone ahead because we're organised.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to make a few calls. We're going to launch bottles at each other and we're going to get into a fight.
That's right.
It's all going to be cool.
Yeah.
And you'll be fancied if you don't get
caught.
A headered with a bottle. A head or a bottle.
Yeah. I always found myself to be the unlucky one at those ages as well. I always found myself trying to stand up to the opposite gangs, and I found myself being caught by them at least 5 times. So I get beat up by gangs at least 5 times, by gangs of people.
You are not a big dude, right? But you're the ringleader and you're the one that's gone out there.
Yeah.
Like, did you, like, are you channeling like your inner Napoleon Bonaparte here, where you're just like, I'm going to take over the whole of Europe and I'm going to start with this gang in Glasgow?
You got a point there.
Because that sounds a bit like Napoleon-esque, like that.
Yeah,
his escapade is like, you know, he's standing up there and he's like going to make this charge. And I'm thinking, like, what's the inner spirit here?
I've grown up to this big fitness community that I've created.
Well, I mean, this is but here's the thing. Here's what's cool. This is why it's interesting to do this, right? Because we started. You spotted something. You seen how it would improve you.
Yeah.
You then put out the message. Then you recruited people. Then you're doing a great thing, and it's developed into this community. And now you've got these members. Yeah. Right. But it started with, I can be fancied if I be a hooligan and I can steal stuff. Yeah. Let me recruit people to get into these fights and they can be cool and they can be something, and this is good. Yeah. So the skills that you were developing then, albeit it was going to have a different outcome.
Oh, yeah.
And you were going to learn that fast. Yep. But you were learning the skills of how to put a team together, how to get people behind something, how to motivate people.
Yep, I didn't know that at the time.
Something, but you were developing the skills. Yeah. So as much as it's like you go, you know,
two-sided coin.
I was in gangs and I probably shouldn't have done it. Hey, look, I get that, but look, where you go down the wrong path, but you can keep the skills. You get the skills and you apply them to a better path.
That's what I've been trying to do now. Yep.
You're not trying, you're doing it.
Yeah,
you're definitely 65 members in. Try's gone. Yeah. You can delete try out your lexicon.
Okay.
Try is finished. When you're 65 in, you're on it.
Yep.
So that's a very, very cool thing. But it's interesting to see that you're the ringleader. Yeah. You're going up and you're facing these things. You're facing the violence. Like what sort of numbers is this gang? Like how many? Like how strong? Like what's is there 10s, 20s?
At least on an average weekend, at least 25 boys. Yeah. And
what about them?
Opposite gang run about the same. Always.
Where do you find the phone numbers? Like, is there a billboard somewhere? Is it like scratched into a toilet? You know, door somewhere. No. If you want a square going head or a bottle, phone this number.
I found maybe myself becoming the ringleader because when I was in at school, in the school you would have different communities merge in to that school. Some of those communities would be those gangs that we would fight.
And do you chat to them beforehand?
Yeah, basically.
Like civilly?
Yep. Yeah, in exchange phone numbers and whatever.
So like, what's the chat? So I'm on, right. Imagine that I'm on the opposite community. I've got a gang. You've got a gang. What's the sort of conversation we're going to have?
Basically, we would exchange phone numbers and would probably phone each other maybe on the weekend when we've got a drink in ourselves, and maybe give each other a bit of cheek, which maybe escalate the situation in a way. That's what I remember doing with some of these people that I'd met in schools. And that would grow to them going, there, he's being cheeky on the phone, and then they would get their 6-7 friends. We'd have 15. They would meet us on the bridge, and then we'd start gang fighting for whatever it may be, 30-40 minutes.
As long as that?
Yeah, we could go for hours before the police would turn up, I remember, yep.
Like what's the fighting entail? I mean, is it like, how do you go for 30-40 minutes? That's ages.
Yeah, I know. You just run backwards and forth, throwing bricks and bottles and stones and chasing each other, as you would call it.
Dodgy, right, bad injuries?
Me, yeah.
What have you seen? What have you had?
I've seen a guy get a putter driven across his face, and the sound from it was astonishing.
What did it sound like?
Like a skull shattering with a lorry driving over it. The guy like staggered and just turned around at 180 and walked, and I thought, oh my god, he's got brain damage. Never heard or seen him again since then. Yeah. But for myself, I've been stabbed. I've been backstabbed twice from the behind.
No, the figurative sense, literally stabbed in the back.
Yeah, twice. Yeah. Once in the side of the eye and once in the arm for 2 different people.
So that's 2 attacks with a knife, and or is it that all multiple attacks?
2 separate attacks. Yeah.
And you're still going back for more?
At the point, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your mindset at this point? Like, so that would
the
like
main
for,
man.
for normal,
I'm unstoppable.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, definitely. At this point, when I'm 20 years old, I've been hit with hatchets, abducted, stabbed several times, backstabbed. Everything you could imagine happening to you. Yeah, I felt unstoppable.
Right, so you go 12 to 16, basically recruiting the gangs. You're finding these communities.
Yeah,
you're starting to give your mum lip. You build up this crew. You're giving the other team lip. You're building up the tension.
Yep.
You're the ringleader, and you're getting involved in all these sorts of fights on bridges and things.
Yeah, and shoplifting and drug dealing as well was another.
When did all that start?
Drug dealing?
Was it shoplifting first?
I think I started shoplifting as early as being a teenager, 13.
Right.
Yeah.
What about the drugs? When did that kick in?
Probably about 16.
So you had a good 3-year run at just the shoplifting?
Yeah.
How did you fall into the drugs?
By taking it.
At 16?
Yeah.
What did you take?
So going back when I was 15, at the time my dad was still a drug dealer. It was cannabis that he sold. All my friends at the time, the friends that I ended up with, all ended up heavily cannabis smokers. Mm-hmm. And I was the only one that never smoked it, didn't smoke it, would not entertain it. And I proudly wore t-shirts that said drug-free and things like that on it, and I was quite proud of who I was. But all it took was for me to try cannabis one time, and that was that. I enjoyed what it was, and I looked into getting it from my dad, and I started selling it.
What did you feel like when you did it?
Euphoric.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. I was with all my friends and I had no stresses, no worries, nothing, and yeah, it was and I feel like it's always chasing that, that euphoria.
Well, you're always chasing it, and you found it in cannabis, or you smoke cannabis to chase the euphoria?
Say that again.
You said that you were always chasing it. Like, were you always chasing? Did you find out you were always chasing euphoria, or was it when you smoked cannabis you were always trying to chase that euphoria cannabis gave you?
Yeah.
But was it the cannabis?
Yeah.
And did you get it from that?
No, I thought I would have. Yeah.
People I know that smoke cannabis, they were like, euphoria is not the first thing that crops up. So it's interesting that
yeah. No, I felt overwhelmed with joy and happiness. And
why do you think that was?
Maybe just the setting I was in at the time. Yeah.
And what did your dad say? Did he just took you straight up? It's like, get in the family business, good to go? They try and sort of steer you off?
Yeah, tried to steer me off, basically. And then one day he randomly turned up at the Blue and handed me a tomato tin that had several bars of hash in it and says, "That's yours." So he kind of gave me it to start my own wee business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that feel when you done that?
Very good, overwhelming. I can actually do something here, and I can be somebody and do things with money and this kind of thing.
It's like he believed in you, and he thought, I can trust you, and he's sort of making sure that you're set up.
Either that, or he's at this point he's maybe thrown a towel in for what he's doing. I don't know. Going back, and maybe if he's been busted, or I'm not 100% sure on that, but there's a reason why he was getting rid of it.
What'd you do for there?
Started selling it, smoking it, making a profit.
At 16?
Yeah.
What a buzz that must have been.
It was.
What did it feel
top
like?
of the world, for sure.
What was a bit high, the gang fights or the making the profit?
Gang fights.
Was it?
Yeah.
Ultimate rush?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Still think of it to this day.
Is it still in there?
Oh, aye.
Oh, brilliant.
You can take the boy at Glasgow away.
But the thing being is the experiences although how they come about, they're not like you probably wouldn't recommend it, but it doesn't take away the feeling.
No, definitely no.
So, like, see if you were again, full, don't try this at home. But like, what if you were trying to put into words what it feels like when you were heading to a gang fight? What's it like? And let me ask you this, right?
Yeah.
Is the feeling when you're fighting, or is it before?
When you're fighting. The feelings when you're fighting. That's a tough one.
Does it feel like you'll have adrenaline, but what are you feeling? Like, so I'll throw out ones in that I don't think you'll feel. You feeling joy?
Yeah.
What, joy?
Yep.
What type of joy is it? Because describe what joy feels like. Because see what people think's joy and what you think's joy might be two different things.
Expressing myself.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you feel like you weren't listened to or you weren't heard before, and this was the way to be heard and to be seen?
Maybe in a way, yeah. And maybe I never realised that up until sitting here with you. Yeah.
Sorry if I'm unravelling this.
That's all right. That's all right.
But like, like, see when people do things because they seek something, and when you seek something, typically but not always, you're lacking it.
Yep.
So you seek something that will give you what you lack.
Yep, that's true.
And I'm thinking you're wanting to express yourself, which is you're standing up and you want to be seen, and you want to be the leader. You want to show that you're something.
Yeah.
And it would, if what's the opposite of that? The opposite would be that you don't feel like you're anything.
Yeah, basically.
Is that fit?
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm assuming like it would be something in your life, like, you're not seeing families, chaotic.
Yep. Yeah.
Where do you think the lack came from? Because we've got where you're expressing yourself.
Yeah.
We've got that dialed in.
Yep.
Where were you lacking it?
I'm not sure.
Probably the parents.
Yeah.
Definitely the parents.
Yeah.
Dad's not here.
Yep.
Things aren't great with mum. Right. Drugs, violence, not being seen, not being heard. I'm a good boy. 12 comes. Why should I be a good boy?
Yeah.
Why should I respect you?
Yeah.
You don't see me anyway. You don't hear me.
Yep.
And then
you're
a people pleaser in with the wrong crowd. There's a chance for you to lead.
Yeah.
There's a chance for you to be seen. There's a chance for you to be heard. There's a chance for you to be important.
Yeah.
There's a chance for you to feel significant.
Yeah.
Because you're lacking it. You don't feel significant or important or seen or loved. Where you should be, where you feel like you should be.
Yeah.
And then this is your place that you can do it.
Yeah.
Get it out. And you got it. ultimate buzz, ultimate high.
Yeah, for sure.
And is that like the pinnacle of the, like, if you, is that the peak experience that you've had? All morality aside.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
We can edit that out for the bit where you said my was that a son or a daughter you've got?
2 daughters I've got.
My 2 daughters, we can edit that, and apart from my 2 daughters being born. So you get you're saying you were signed by Rangers.
Yeah.
Right, so here's a fork in the road. Right, you're good at football. You don't make it there if you've not got any talent.
Yeah.
But what was going on when you got signed by them? Because it looks to me like there's a split here.
Yeah.
You need to pick where you're going to be, but you've got this ultimate high, ultimate expression.
Yep.
Where you're important.
Yep.
But then you've got this chance here. What happens here? So you get signed by Rangers, and how did that go?
So I was given the heads up that Rangers were doing trials. I took myself down and I got accepted, and I was made part of the team. Was part of the team for a couple of months. But at the time I was doing training. The training was on Friday nights, and it was at Glasgow Green. And at the time I'm in my prime, and everybody needs me in the gang. Not everybody needs me in the gang, but I felt like I needed to be there for the gang and to set up the fights and whatever. And I found myself taking myself out of that situation.
Taking yourself out of what situation?
Playing for Rangers. I joined another team, which was Eastern Bartonshire Villa, they were called, and they were under 16s, and I was 16 at the time. So I got investigated, and I got banned for playing football for 3 years.
You got investigated?
Yeah.
For what?
I was playing a game for that Eastern Bartonshire Villa, and the opposite team's manager, I don't know if he'd done a check-up on me.
Where would they check?
I don't know. I got a letter through my front door.
From who?
SFA. I had to go for a meeting at Hampden. But they exposed that I was too old to be playing for the team. So I got banned for playing for
on
golf.
that basis?
Yeah.
So what was so what did that set off for you?
That put me in motion for my boxing career again. I'd always been into my boxing, so football was off the card, so I focused on boxing again while still being in a gang.
What would you, like, if you were to go back and talk to you, what age would he talk to you at?
15.
What happened at 15? Why then?
I feel like that's when I was maybe led myself astray, and maybe that was the fork edge where I should have maybe taken the opposite road.
So what would you say? What were you doing then? What would you say that was different?
I was doing everything wrong to what I would do now, being older and realising what I should have been doing. I should have been investing in my health and my wealth, and try to focus on maybe a career as such as I'm coming into my adult ages. But yeah, I was none the wiser. I thought I had the world in my hands, and yeah.
I'm thinking about the recipe that you've got, and it's a rough deal here, right? Because it sounds like you weren't around great influences, and then by the time that it was possible that you'd have been around great influences, you were completely clouded by this huge rush in this place that you can feel important, which is in these gangs.
Yep.
So even if someone could come along and talk to you and be a great influence, your ears and eyes were shut to that because you were so blinded by this ultimate thrill and ultimate buzz of these gang fights.
Yeah, that's all I had at the time. That was my group of friends. That was who were there for me.
Do you feel closer to them than your family?
At the time, yeah.
What would you have said to yourself at 15?
Stop what you're doing.
Would you have listened?
No. I wouldn't have, yeah.
So, like, imagine that there's like a 15-year-old you, right, tuning into this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm solid. I'm unstoppable. Like, what would you say? what words of wisdom would you, as somebody that's been through the other end of it, what would you say to him?
You know who
you're not telling him. You're not telling him what to do. You're just saying, "Hey, look."
You know who you think you are. You've got a lot of growing to do. Yeah, that's what I would say.
He's definitely not listening to that, is he?
No. And one ear and the other.
It'll just bounce off. It's wise advice. There's no doubt about it. But like, when you're like, it's a tough deal when your environment's not great and your family's not great, and it's so easy to fall into the path of
Violence.
I can just fall into it. Like, I can lash out. Because the thing is like, somebody comes in, and like a gang comes in, trashes a house, your dad's house. Like, your instant default mode is survival, and if your survival mode is either it's fight or flight, and if you can't get away, then your only thing to do is fight. So you want to lash out. And when you lash out, you people are scared. You feel that that's good because you feel like you can do something about it. You don't need to live in fear. But then you continue to do it, and you gain significance from it. Now the problem is that you have your significance in life is violence, and that is a really short shelf life, because there's someday that something's going to happen. Either you're going to do something so bad to someone that you end up in jail, or you're going to get jailed, or somebody's going to be so violent to you, something significant's going to happen to you. Like, it's got a short shelf life, even though you feel really significant from it. But you try telling that to someone who's not been through it. You know, when you get these things in life where you go, I think you're just going to need to figure it out yourself. You sometimes they just need to go through it. You know, and it's trying to intercept that before it gets to that point can be tricky. It's not impossible, it's just tricky to do. So like, did you feel when you were doing this that it would have that shelf life, or did you just think this is...
Never even crossed my mind, to be honest with you. No.
What about, like, did you have any prospects of what you wanted to do when you were older?
No, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a football player. And then I had to be eye for boxing as well.
How did you do at the boxing?
Well, all right, yeah. But yeah, I just couldn't get in the ring anymore.
Did you get barred for that, for like throwing bottles at the guy or bricks and stuff like that?
At the boxing?
Aye.
No.
We did this on a Friday. What do you mean it's against the rules?
No. No, it's something I wish I had spent more time in doing.
Did you enjoy it?
Loved that, yeah.
What did it feel like when you were doing it? What was it like for you?
Just venting out stress and expressing yourself and coming out a better person.
Were you getting a camaraderie from the way you boxed?
Not so much. I was more of a loner, I felt. And just keep my head down, focus on myself. But yeah, I could see there's potential there.
Did you struggle socially?
No.
Why at the boxing then?
Maybe just personality.
Your personality didn't fit there. How come you had the personality outside the boxing, but when you were in there, was it like personality clash? Was there people that were...
Maybe there was people that would maybe have thrown you off your pedestal,
right? To
say the least. Maybe it's intimidating looking people, guys twice as side, you hitting the bag twice as hard,
right?
Would make you swallow. Yeah.
Did you get anybody taking you under their wing?
No, not at all.
Did you think you made it hard because you were wanting to just keep yourself to yourself? Were you the typical grey man in there?
Yeah,
just blend in.
Yep, that's it. Yeah, but you'd know I was there if I was there. You'd definitely hear me.
Yeah, how would you hear you? Were you shouting?
In the bag.
Yeah. Good. How long did you do the boxing?
I've done boxing since I've been about 8 up until about 21.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Funny thing is you're all with that, like, this fitness themes all the way through your life.
Yeah.
So you're...
I found my mum was taking me to do things, maybe to give me focus and maybe to better me as a person. Yeah.
Fair play.
It was my mother that did all that for me.
That's good. That's good, because I mean, like, it sounds like it was a bit of a rough ride, but there's always like silver linings in these dark clouds.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's good that she's tried to get you, you know, into something that'll get you away from, you know, the dark lures. Albeit ultimately, you know, you found your path to it, but
yeah, that's true.
Still good that she tried to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So you got hit with the hatchet.
Yeah.
Hit with the hatchet and abducted, and then you still think I'm still game for this.
Yeah, basically.
How is it? What's going through your mind?
I don't know. I've just tunnel visioned on being who I thought I was.
Who
Yeah,
did you think you were?
a hard man.
Just solid.
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah,
Feel good.
I know. Sitting here about 55 kilograms as well.
Well, you know as well as anybody. Like
That's true.
the size and weight only goes so far.
That's true.
You get somebody that's dialed in. Weight doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But you were felt solid. In
Oh yeah,
the time.
unstoppable. Yep. Definitely.
What made you stop?
Uh,
What happened when you went, I'm done? Because if an abduction and stabbed multiple times and
Yep.
hit with a hatchet,
Yep.
there's no stopping you.
No, I was still doing boxing up until this point. And delving into boxing up until I was 26. And then when I turned 26, I was doing... This is at the point when at the start of the conversation I was telling you I was looking for motivation. And I was looking for somebody to inspire me on YouTube type thing.
So what happened between 20 and 26? Because 20, you were saying you were still gang fighting up to you were 20.
Yeah.
And then 26 is when you've been working in Aldi and you're looking for motivation. What happened then? What happened in here?
My life was saved, I think, by my wife.
Where did she appear? She launched a bottle at you across the other side of the bridge.
Something like
And then I love
Yeah.
at first sight.
No, I first came across my girlfriend in the kids nightclub Unders Cube. That's where I met her, and I was 13 at the time.
A hotbed for where romance begins.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. And it wasn't until I was 15 is when I first started seeing her. And yeah, the rest is history. It took her a while to get me on the straight and narrow. She got me focused, got me in work. She helped me stop selling drugs, taking it, got me at the gang.
How long are you together?
I'm still with her just now, and I've been with her 17 years.
But you've been with her since you were 15 all the way through to now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fair play to her.
Yeah.
And was she into the violence? Did she think it was cool?
She came from a more affluent area and a better upbringing. But I do think she liked me for who I was.
Yeah.
At that age and time.
Just imagine our parents bringing you back. Oh, it's
Yeah.
like fucking hell.
Yeah, that's exactly
She'd
what
have
it
fell in
was.
love with anybody. What she fell in love with him for?
Yeah. And me and the pals are back for parties, fighting with the uncles and, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
We've
dear.
been through it all.
Right.
But I wouldn't have changed her for the world. And yeah, she's been a real lifesaver for me.
Why did what kind of influence did she have on you? Right, so you've 15 to 20. She's trying to get you in the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
And for 20 to 26,
Mhm.
what influence? What part has she played in all this?
Just giving me love and nurturing me, giving me care.
Do you feel like that was missing?
No,
Did she fill that void for you?
no, but I would say my mum, and that was very much loving and caring and things like that. But yeah, I feel like my wife Natalie maybe just did some things a bit different that maybe twigged a bit better with me and made me move forward a bit better. Whether it be social things, or like getting into work or things like that I found really life changing.
When you say you got into work, like were you struggling to get a job or?
No, I didn't want to work. I was selling cannabis. I was comfortable. I didn't need to work. I was getting job seekers money every fortnight that I didn't need to touch. And yeah, but there was a loom of being lost. I had nothing to do with myself throughout the whole day. I know I had free time, but yeah,
So
I never had purpose.
Mhm. That's the thing. It dawns on you.
Yeah,
You have money. It's coming in. Who are you?
yeah,
And that's when nobody's about, and you're yourself, and that question ebbs away at you.
yeah.
So what age were you when that kicked in?
About 20, I would think.
So when did you quit selling the cannabis?
About 21.
And did you get any work then?
When I was 22, started working.
Right.
Yeah.
How did that go? Because I imagine that was a very different set of circumstances.
I didn't like being
I've got
told.
job seekers allowance. I'm my own boss.
Yep.
I'm making money. To
Completely different lifestyle from what I knew the world to be. So my wife, I believe, had shown me a different way of life, working way of life, middle class type way, or whatever you may call it.
How long did it take you to get fired?
Weeks.
That's not bad.
I've worked in every organisation and department in the whole world. It feels.
Right.
Never quite found a job that fits. Yeah.
So what was your first job?
Working in Savers as a till cashier. That was doing in Trongate. It was quite rough. I was getting £3.13 an hour, and I was also taking money at the till to get a black taxi up the road.
Yeah.
I was that good at a thief. Yeah, Savers never even noticed me taking it up the till.
And you, how? So you lasted weeks there.
Yep.
Well, how did you end up getting fired for there? Couldn't take it anymore.
I think I had enough of stealing out there, and I was maybe getting paranoid.
Right.
And I was only maybe using that temporarily at the time to get a feel for work and maybe get some money behind me again for Christmas.
Right.
And maybe just a wee bit of a purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then what did you do next? Because it sounds like you're on a wee path here. You try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. I then look into, again, sitting here at what must have been about 49 kilograms at the time. I thought, I'm going to be a security guard, given my personality. So I got a security
49 kilos?
I must have been about 49, 51 kilograms at that time. I was a bag of bones. Yeah.
Was Natalie heavier than you?
She was, yeah. No, now, but yeah.
She must have been heavier than you. 49 kilos isn't a lot.
No, it wasn't. No.
But you were like, I'm solid.
Yeah, totally. In the mind and the heart and soul, and nothing could stop me. Even a man at 7 feet, I wasn't intimidated by. Mm-hmm. So I looked into getting my security licence, and I started doing security events like at Celtic Park and Tea in the Park, and working these kind of things as well, which was... How did
you get the job there?
There was a member of family who was working in security, and he said they're looking for event staff. You don't need the licence and things like that. You can literally come in, it's a 0 hour contract. They'll call you on a Saturday, you work on a Saturday type thing. So I thought, I'll go try it. Tried it, enjoyed it, looked into the licence and then got that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then did you do security after that?
Yep, I stayed in security for, I think it's the best part of about 6 years. Yeah.
That's
just different various roles. So
how did you come about to, like you said at the start there, you were struggling with motivation, what's going on with you? Like why were you feeling like you were lacking motivation? Like what happened before? You're working in Aldi.
Yeah.
So how did you get for security working in Aldi?
From security to working in Aldi.
Because you said earlier, you were saying that you were 2017, you were working in Aldi.
Yeah.
Right, so you must have been in security and then went to Aldi.
Yeah.
Or be working in security in Aldi, I don't know.
No, I was doing security before Aldi.
Right.
I got the sack for security. I got a drugs test and I got caught. So I handed my P45 in, is it? Yeah. So I had to leave the security company that I was working for.
Right.
And that's when I ventured into the new role. Yeah.
In Aldi?
Yep. And I was there a couple months in the lead up to saving up for a wedding.
Right.
Yeah.
Your wedding?
Yeah.
Right, okay. And you, what was, you were saying that you were missing motivation, what was going on?
I was maybe looking to fill a gap. I was coming out of the people pleasing, being in the gang type thing, and I was maybe looking to reshape myself in some ways, working with my wife, girlfriend at the time. So I was looking for motivation on YouTube.
Was she working Aldi?
No, she worked in Marks and Spencer's at the time. So yeah, I was just looking for motivation and inspiration and maybe something to focus on, given that I couldn't do boxing and I was banned for football. And I knew I wasn't getting back to football at 26, 27.
Ship had sailed.
Yeah. So I was trying to find something else to focus on. that was what was key for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what did you find?
Calisthenics.
Straight away, or did you try a few things?
No, I remember coming across a motivational calisthenics body transformation video. And I remember watching it and I thought to myself, I can do that. And in my head I felt confidently strong enough to...
What were they doing in the video that you thought I can do?
Shoulder flags, front levers, 90-degree handstand press, these kind of bodyweight movements. And I thought, like, from all my conditioning training in the boxing and how confident I was as a person, I thought I could do this if I actually focus on it. So then that gave me the challenge to try and better myself through fitness again.
And how did you find it at the start?
I mean,
You're just instantly good at it?
No, I didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest.
I'd like to get a body weight sitting you and put like 100 kilos on you and see what calisthenics feels like then.
I would still be saying that I can do 5.5 clean strict pull-ups for 50 kilograms hanging off me.
What weight would you be? What total weight is that?
Including me, about 109 kilograms.
Because you must be heavy on 49 kilos now.
No, I'm about 59 now.
So you added 10 kilos of body, like muscle mass, to calisthenics?
Yeah, basically.
Because for the listeners, like, there's not a pack of fat on you.
No, not at all.
So like, you're not carrying any excess weight. So if you went from 49 to 59, that's a clean 10 kilos of muscle mass.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think it is about calisthenics that attracted you? Because, I mean, you're suited to it because your body weight isn't high.
Yep.
So like the lower body weight means that calisthenics is naturally going to be an easier path for you because you're not having to push up that weight. Now, there is a relationship because if you have someone that's big and they're more muscular, there's a relationship between muscular power and body weight. Yeah. So the more weight, if you have more muscle, the more you're going to be able to push, so you can push a bigger body weight.
True, yeah.
And it's the same the other end with the lighter you are, the less muscle mass that you typically have, so it's going to be, slightly harder. Yeah. But there's a sweet spot if you're light and strong. This thing's you're going to fly at this thing. Yeah. And is that where you found yourself?
Yeah, definitely.
You're athletic, done boxing, done football.
Yep.
Been in gang fit. I don't know what relationship muscle mass and gangs would have, but you face a challenge.
Oh yeah.
So you're ready to face that challenge. So it's got a challenge. It's going to test your strength.
Yeah.
And you're actually your physiology suited to it.
Yeah.
So what did instantly you went in and what was it like?
I found myself enjoying it. I found myself passionate about it, and it was suiting my personality as well. I could do this outside and could do it in my free time. I didn't need to be tied to anything, and it was ticking the boxes for me, and I could work on myself at times that I wanted to work on myself, And
are you talking strictly physically, or were you noticing any changes in your kind of mentality and your mindset?
More physically to start with. I found it being more mental towards after I've done about 5 years of calisthenics now, I feel like it's more of a mental battle more than anything.
When you say a mental battle, what's it like?
Well, for the position that I've put myself in, I'm giving myself a mental battle. I can't just go out now and enjoy the training for what it is. I don't know if it's ego or whatnot it may be, or putting pressure on myself there as well. But
describe it to me. Tell me what it's like. You said the position that you're putting yourself in. What's that position?
Pedestal, in a way.
I
don't know if it's maybe being influenced by other people as well. Things like you're the GOAT, you're the man, you're the Yoda, whatever it is, these type words.
Yep.
So there's that expectancy. Sometimes I'm not there mentally or physically to deliver. And once you step off the bandwagon, it's hard to get back on it again.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
And that's the same in everything. Yeah. Do you get the same feeling? Like I notice anything I've done, tell me if calisthenics is the same, but you do it, like you go on holiday, for instance, or you take whatever the reason for having a duration of time off it. Yeah. You go back mentally. You think I'm going to go back exactly where I left off.
It's not going to be.
And you are blown away by how much you've lost. Like, how is it possible that I can't do what I just done a week or two ago?
Yeah, that's
the same.
Yeah, it can happen to us. But what I really like and enjoy about calisthenics, and I don't know if it's maybe just me and my brain and how my brain works, or if it's how all these people that do calisthenics brain works. But I find with doing calisthenics, it opens up your mind a wee bit to how you can train, where you can train, why you train. And I found myself when I go on holiday, I generally don't stop. I would go out and I would look for calisthenics parks, and I would go and try and explore them and maybe grow my CV in ways. Yeah.
Do you look at the world and you think I could, are you looking at all the sort of features of the landscape thinking I could do this and that, or I could pull it as be a good pull-up bar, or
Yep. Yeah.
Like people.
Oh, totally. It happens all the time, and there's been many times when I've had slight accidents as well.
Have you?
Yeah.
What, through calisthenics?
Yeah.
Like what accidents you had?
I nearly broke my thumb on holiday last year. I seen a bridge and it had these big poles that thick, and I thought I'm going to fold over the bridge and hold a human flag and then press back up on walking away. It sounded like cool. So
human flag, is that one where you put your legs out at the side?
Yeah. Your hands are on the bar. Given I'm leaning over to a bridge, over cars passing under and whatnot. So I pressed over to it, but the spacing between the bars wasn't wide enough. It was too narrow, so my bottom shoulder caved and I invertedly folded in and
bent your thumb.
And yeah, it was quite tough. And hanging, and yeah, it's like, let's get up.
Poor Natalie.
Yeah.
Did she just think what you doing next?
Oh yeah. She'll roll her eyes at me at times,
But she knows there's no telling you no.
No, not at all.
I'll
always be a kid at heart.
That's the way to be.
Yeah.
You're pushing yourself mentally then, so is there a limit to calisthenics?
No, I would say it's limitless. You can keep going. The amount of exercise you can do is infinite. And you can also add on weight vests and these kind of things as well. So if you think you're plateauing with planche push-ups, whatever that may be, or you can always put on a weight vest or something, and that will again increase that.
I mean, you can strict press. You can do a strict pull-up with how much? 50 kilos.
Yeah.
So you're 9 kilos away from doing double your body weight.
I could do it. I can do a 1 rep max of 65 kilograms.
So you can do over 2 times your body weight in a pull-up.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Because the ratio in terms of power to weight is over double your power to weight ratio.
Yeah.
That's strong.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get that strong?
Probably the 5 years of the calisthenics journey.
Right.
At the start of the journey, I fractured my spine working in Aldi.
You fractured your spine working in Aldi?
No, when I was working in Aldi during the time
what were you doing in Aldi?
I know. I had to pay the bills, so.
No, I'm saying, what were you doing that you would have fractured your spine in Aldi?
So I'm in the gym, in a pure gym. I've been going to the gym twice a week at this point. Let's say it's like the Saturday, so I'm on the 6th day. My body's fatigued.
Right.
And I bend down to pick up this kettlebell that's lying on its side, and it's only 16 kilograms. And I go to pick it up, and I hear this crunch in the back of my neck, and I run about where the trap is. I thought anything of it. So I just dropped my hands, dropped the kettlebell, went to pick up the other hand again, and then that other same crunch for the other side happened. And that's when both my shoulders dropped. My neck slumped forward, and I went, ah! And I was in this, deep, shooting sharp type stabby burny pain in my back. I literally ran out the gym, ran to the doctor. They told me it was a trapezius strain, and I think it took me 3 months to get the NHS to take me for an x-ray. And then they told me my spine was fractured.
Jesus.
And I was already back at work at this point.
It's crazy how you do all this stuff, gang fighting.
Yeah.
Right? Gang fighting, bottles, bricks, boxing, football. All these calisthenics moves, and you fracture your spine and picking up a kettlebell.
Yeah. That's literally what breaks me. Still to this day, I deal with back pain and mobility issues. Yeah,
it's good that you're working around it though. And
I've got to. I found when I first found calisthenics, I was maybe about 4 months into the calisthenics journey, and that's when I fractured my spine, and I felt like that was a true test to me. Because at the time when I'm doing calisthenics, I was the only person or one of a handful of people that was doing calisthenics in this country.
Yep.
And if there was a handful of people, I didn't know them, and they didn't know me. So at that time, it was only me that was doing it. And I felt like it was a case of you can focus on it now whilst you're injured, or you can move on and get back to working in Aldi. So I sat there with the back pain, the neck fracture, half dressed for months, watching YouTube, watching all these incredible calisthenics coaches and athletes and competitions, and just soaking myself up with the love of the sport, and trying to absorb as much of it as I could before I'm ready to start exercising again.
That's powerful. You've no idea how powerful that is.
Yeah.
People don't realise what you've just done, but you're visualising, putting yourself there, imagining yourself, how you would move your hands, how you'd move your body, and immersing yourself in it, and you do not know how powerful that is. So I don't know if you realised at the time, but that was a masterstroke.
Yeah.
In terms of what you should do
and
when you face injury.
Yeah.
It's about working around it.
Yeah. And I feel like that now has shaped me as who I am as a person and who I'll be for the rest of my life.
That's amazing, man. Well, that's a really, really, really cool thing that you've done there. I don't know if you knew it. I don't know if you knew what you were doing at the time.
No.
But there was a famous test where they took 3 groups. One group that didn't do any exercise at all, one group that did bicep curls, and one group that visualised doing bicep curls.
Right.
So the group that did no bicep curls actually got worse. The group that, well, as you imagine, because they're not doing any exercise, they're going to get atrophy. The group that did do bicep curls improved by 18%.
Right.
And the group that visualised doing bicep curls improved by 13%.
That's crazy.
Because the nervous system can't tell the difference between your imagination and reality.
Yeah.
So they've done it with multiple tests. They've done it with playing piano. Like people that visualise playing piano, and like what you've described there is exactly what that test is.
Yep.
I can't do this, but I can immerse myself in it. And you're visualising what would it be like, how would a hand position be like, and you're firing those nerves.
Yep. Yeah.
And you're putting yourself there, and you're building the picture of what it'd be like in your mind.
Yeah.
It's and again, I don't know if you knew that, but it is a master stroke. Because anybody that's ever came back from any life changing injury, they'll describe what you've done. I visualise myself doing it. I visualise what it'd be like. I visualise what it'd be like once I heal. I'd be doing this and this and this. And guess what happens? The body adapts and it adjusts. And it gets ready and it's priming itself for doing it.
Yep.
I mean, that's like powerful stuff.
That is. We sometimes maybe want this to happen overnight, but these things happen.
Where would the fun be in that?
Exactly.
But nothing that's earned overnight is good.
No.
Like that. Right. Have you ever heard of Paradise Syndrome?
No.
Like Paradise Syndrome, like, you know, when you see like lottery winners.
Right.
And you ever heard the ones that just go back to like they blutter all the money, they blow all the money. Yeah. So Paradise Syndrome is that when you have a massive shift, something happens in your life and you see yourself as here, and then you have this massive change which puts you up here, which would be perceived as paradise. So you're in paradise. Right. But you still see yourself as there, but you're here and you don't feel like you belong. Yeah. So you destroy everything down to get back to where you were. And Paradise Syndrome happens to lottery winners. So it's like,
I feel like I'm doing that to myself right now.
Are you?
Aye.
How?
I don't know, just with what you said there, I'm like, that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, it's about like, do you feel like when what you're doing doesn't match how you see yourself?
Yeah.
Would it like describe to me what that's like in your head?
I see myself.
Like let's start with what you're doing, and then tell me what the mismatch is with how you see yourself.
What I'm doing just now is I smoke. Smoke quite a lot of cigarettes and stuff as well, and I feel like that's having a big impact on my mental health for physical training and my career. It obviously is affecting me as an athlete. I started my calisthenics journey and I became an endurance athlete representing Scotland. And I'm the guy that smokes.
Why do you smoke?
It's a habit I've picked up.
Why did you take the habit up?
To people please.
You still pleasing the people by smoking now?
No.
What are you doing it for then?
Addicted. It's in the head.
Do you think you're addicted?
No. No, I think it is surroundings that have an influence on you.
You're right.
An impact. Am I?
In the Vietnam War, back in the Vietnam War, they thought that when people used heroin, it was a death sentence. You could never get off heroin. It was medically established, or the medical profession basically says if you become a heroin addict, that's you.
Right off kind of thing.
Everything's environment. You ever went into somewhere and you just fall into these old habits, these traits? We run in patterns and programs. So what happens is, like when we go to the gym, for those that don't know, we train in the same gym. So we go to the gym and we know what we're doing there. Yeah. We don't think about it. We know what we're doing, right? Because we have a pattern that we follow. Mm-hmm. Some people call it habits, habitual behaviour. There's a number of words for it. But what it means in essence is that we go in, we know what we do, and we do that thing in there.
That's that,
right? So in Vietnam, the same thing happened. These servicemen, 35% of the American servicemen were using heroin. So they sent over a whole team of doctors and psychologists to figure out how we can get how bad's this problem, and is it a death sentence?
Right.
When they took the guys out of Vietnam, they stopped using heroin because they weren't in the environment.
Yeah.
Now, the reason that they were using heroin was that they were looking for an escape or a release because it relaxed them.
Yeah.
Same euphoria that you probably got with the cannabis is that people smoke because it makes them feel relaxed. What happens is when you smoke, you take a diaphragmatic breath. Yep. So you breathe deeply, so it relaxes you. So people go, if I'm stressed, I take this and I need this. And it's like, well, if you want to take that thing away, you need to replace it with something that gives you that relaxation. Yep. And that's the key component. People don't realise that you're never going to quit smoking unless you have something that gives you the thing that smoking gives you, but you don't actually need the nicotine. What you need is that feeling of relaxation. Yeah. So you can kill that habit by replacing it with another habit. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that, and it was the same thing with American servicemen. What they were trying to establish was why are these guys should be addicted, but take them out of the environment, they stop doing it.
Yep.
So when you
same thing as well. If you to say right, taking you out the house, you're going out to Jamaica for I want to smoke a cigarette again.
Why do you do it in the house?
That's what you just touched upon there. Yeah, exactly that, and I can see that now.
We could rewire your brain to replace that easily, and you would go, I don't need that.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
Yeah,
and if you can do calisthenics and go back to work with a spinal fracture, and like you tell me you can't rewire.
I know.
Come on,
it's just selfish, isn't it?
That's a piss poor fucking excuse, really, isn't it? That's weak. Like you do all this stuff.
I know,
right? But just find I need to pick it up. I'm helpless.
Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? And then you'll sulk later on yourself, like why?
And you're kicking yourself because what you realise is that by doing this, you're taking a bit of an edge off you. You're taking that off of your performance.
Yeah. Each day's a day wasted.
I mean, it's like, well, if you're this good smoking, what would you be like if you didn't smoke?
That's what I always think.
Like, how good would you be? Yeah. Right. So I know that I'd be better. How do I replace it? What could I replace it with? Yeah. What would give me that feeling and let me measure how much better it makes me? Because what you would then create is that positive reinforcement environment where you go, let me try it, let me replace something with it. So I get the relaxation that I would get if I smoked without smoking, and then I can measure how much more performance I can get by cutting it out. Yeah. That's a pretty powerful recipe there.
I agree.
Well, I think that's a good place to end part one, because we're time flies when you're having fun.
It does, mate. That was good there.
Enjoy it.
Oh, aye. I was starting to get into it there now.
I could tell. It's a shame that you need to pick up the kids.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much, man.
Well done. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Mount Mindset with myself, Geo McNee, and Paddy McIntyre. Now, this is a two-part episode, so this is covering off the first one there that we just done, where we went into what happened before the Scottish Cali Squad was formed. What events and twists happened in Paddy's life where these situations that could have sent him down a path of staying in that world of violence, staying in that world of gang fighting, but he's managed to navigate out of that. And we went into all those little avenues, those little sliding door moments where it would have been easy for him just to continue down that path. And crazily enough, being hit with a hatchet and being stabbed and all this violence didn't knock him off the path. and it was only years later where he started to find his purpose. And it's important to see how that shapes you when you're young, and then how you can carry those skills that you found and developed when you were going down the wrong path, and how you get to keep them in future in life. So look forward to going into the depth in part 2. So stand by for that. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you want to follow Paddy along, give him a follow on Instagram. He's at Paddy McIntyre on Instagram. It'll be below in the show notes. And if you want to follow along the Scottish Cali Squad, give him a follow there, and be sure to tune in for the next Calisthenic Games, the Highland Calisthenics games that will be active. Give Paddy a follow if you want to keep up to date with those. And most of all, those top 3 tips. You don't need to be big and muscular. You certainly don't need to have any athletic ability. And if you want to get started, there is no better time than now. So if you like any Paddy's information, if you want to be coached by him, get in touch with him. He does one-to-one coaching. He does group coaching. He's got a great community there. So give him get in touch with him. Follow him along. Why don't you go and give it a try? Because you won't know what's in there until you give it a go. So hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I will see you guys on the next one.